Russia approves the use of Bitcoin for international transactions. So Merry Christmas from Michael Saylor, who says there is no better gift than Bitcoin. We're going to just let that sit. Okay, so XRP ETF rumors are heating up. But this article is saying that there are some rival altcoins that could deliver huge gains by the start of the new year. So DOGEN is the coin that's pumping. It's the alpha meme coin dominating the crypto scene, kind of competing against Doge, SHIB, and FLOKI. So they're saying a projected 700% surge in the coming months. DOGEN is primed to leave competitors in the dust. So it's powered by Solana's blockchain. So a Shiba Inu whale is expecting this new coin here that I'm about to tell you about to outperform Doge and XRP in the $1 price range. And this is called LIGHTCHAIN AI. It's currently sitting at $0.003. So this one is another one to check out for 2025 that could have explosive growth. So the millionaire investor behind Peanuts' success bets big on CATZILLA for 1500x in 2025. So let's take a look at CATZILLA as well now. And we also have this week's top crypto picks, 6 altcoins primed for profits in 2025. And these would be DOGEN, TONCOIN, APTOS, AAVE, and Uni, the Uniswap token, as well as Solana. So if you don't have all these 6, maybe you should think about it, right? So DOGEN, TONCOIN, APTOS, AAVE, Uniswap, and Solana. Keep an eye on these ones for 2025. So MicroStrategy has been the best performing crypto stock of the year. Shares surged by 402% since January of 2024. So if we look at the year to date, this is actually showing 422.7%, starting the year around $63 and dipping down to the 40s, $45 on January 23rd. That would have been a great investment in January. Also, for Israel, we have 6 Bitcoin mutual funds about to be debuting next week. This is huge, right? More and more Bitcoin adoption is happening across the world every day. Bitcoin is becoming digital gold for real at this point. So Van Eck has been saying that a United States Bitcoin reserve could cut the US debt by 36% by 2050. So that's pretty huge if the US was to initiate a strategic Bitcoin reserve. All right, so news is out that Trump has appointed former college pro football player Bo Hines as executive director of the new Crypto Council, which will be led by David Sachs. So Hines has been running for different political offices since about 2022. In addition to Hines, Trump has also named Sriram Krishnan, a former general partner at Andreessen Horowitz, as the senior party advisor for AI. So Krishnan will be working closely with David Sachs to shape the administration's policies on AI and tech. So Trump sees digital assets and AI as critical to the U.S.'s technological future. So Metaplanet buys the dip with its biggest ever Bitcoin purchase of 620 Bitcoins. Previously, Metaplanet's biggest purchase was for about 160 Bitcoin on October 28th, so they've nearly quadrupled that amount with this purchase. So Metaplanet now has 1,761 Bitcoin. Russia approves the use of Bitcoin for international transactions. This is pretty big news. We know that Russia has been hinting at looking at Bitcoin reserves and things like that, and now they're coming out and saying that they will officially use Bitcoin for foreign transactions. Bitcoin is being used by Russia now for international payments. As part of the experimental regime, it is possible to use Bitcoins, which we have mined here in Russia. Again, this article is saying here, Russia is now free to use Bitcoin in foreign trade, according to the finance minister. Huge news here, huge news. So he is saying here that altcoin season is imminent and that we're close to a huge Bitcoin dominance reversal. This guy here is saying that altcoin season is about to explode. If we look here, Bitcoin dominance is at 56%. He's predicting a reversal soon for altcoin season to start up. And AAVE and LIDO, so AAVE and LIDO surpassed 70 billion in combined net deposits. AAVE has really had a big pump recently. So FLOKI is on course now for a European ETP. There's more news here on that. It could come as early as the first quarter. Lots of altcoins and memes could be blasting and blowing up and exploding in 2025. Matador Technologies is another publicly traded firm that has just adopted the Bitcoin reserve strategy, following in MicroStrategy's footsteps. They also share a board member with Japanese firm Metaplanet. So there you go right there. So that makes sense why they would be taking on the Bitcoin strategy, because we already know Metaplanet now has 1,700 Bitcoin, and they're really pumping with the Bitcoin strategy, and it's working out great for them. Little piece of news here, Crypto.com launches a sports prediction market in the US, and their first one will be the Super Bowl. That's interesting. These prediction markets have been blowing up recently. So now we have more states considering Bitcoin reserves. So as we know, the three main states that are doing this are Texas, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And there's talks more and more will be popping up and coming up in 2025 for sure. So the Ether ETFs surpassed 2.5 billion in inflows, signaling optimism despite the 10% drop and resistance at 3,500. Institutions like Van Eck are predicting a $6,000 cycle top for Ether during 2025, which is just about double from where we are now. Not quite, 7,000 would be double, but it's right there. So this just in, over 30% of South Koreans are invested in crypto assets. So the user base for crypto has surged to 15.6 million in November, surpassing 30% of the population. More and more countries and more citizens in these countries are adopting Bitcoin. The countries themselves and also the retail investors within the country. People are buying it up. So MicroStrategy is calling another shareholder meeting to fund more Bitcoin purchases. So what they're seeking to do is increase the number of authorized shares for both Class A common stock and preferred stock, giving it more flexibility to issue additional shares as needed. So the First Amendment seeks to raise the authorized Class A common stock from 333 million shares to 10.33 billion shares, while the Second Amendment aims to increase the authorized preferred stock from 5 million shares to over 1 billion shares. Do we realize how big of an increase in shares that is? That is a giant increase. That is huge. 330 million increasing to 10.3 billion. Hello? That's astonishing. Is this good or bad for the stock? That's the question. Is it good or bad for the stock? I'm not sure. Is it good for MicroStrategy? Yes, because they can issue the stock and buy more Bitcoin. That's ultimately Michael Saylor's goal, is to buy as much Bitcoin as possible and be the largest Bitcoin holding. Interesting, to say the least. So Ethereum maxis are saying that ETH will be the comeback kid of 2025. Could be. All right, so let's take a look at the Fear and Greed Index, which has actually jumped up in the past couple of days. It was sitting at 52 for like a week at least, in the low 50s, and suddenly it's jumped back up to 62 from where it was. You can see on the 21st, it was, in the 22nd, it was at 54. Let's take a look at some charts. We have Bitcoin sitting at 99,000, getting close to break over that 100,000 barrier again. Ethereum sitting at 34.73. We have Ripple back in the 230s. Ripple was at 215 the other day. Just a couple days ago, Ripple was at 215. It was chilling in the teens, right? It was hanging out here. Now we're back up at 231. So things have definitely rebounded. The Santa rally could be starting up again. Solana also hovering around 200. It went down to 179, 178, 177 the other day. It's also rallied back up. Cardano sitting at 91. Chainlink back up. It was also down to about 22. Now it's hanging at 24. HBAR took a big move upwards recently. Let's take a look at this one. So we can see over the past week, HBAR was hanging out in the 20s, the mid 20s, all the way down to 23 cents on December 20th. Now we're all the way back up to 31 cents. And yesterday it reached a high of 33. So that's a huge increase in just a couple days. Stellar sitting at 38. AAVE also had a major move this week. Currently sitting around 370. earlier this week, it dipped all the way down to 274. So that's about a 35% increase over 5 days. 35% over 5 days for AAVE. So if you bought AAVE around the 20th of December, you're doing great right now. You're doing really good. VeChain also making some upward moves. It went all the way down on the 20th to 38 to 0.038. Now it's at 0.051. That's also a 34% increase over the 5 days. VeChain and AAVE are a couple of the big movers from this week. Let's see how Ondo is doing. Ondo is still sitting at 163, which is a pretty good buying spot. It's doing pretty good for a buying opportunity right now on Ondo. They went down to a low of 151 on the 20th. Now they're at 163. They haven't quite recovered like some of the other ones